Well, hello people, and welcome to a brand new Cities Skylines 2 series. I hope you're having a wonderful day. In this series, I'd like to start a new vanilla city, and I mean fully vanilla. There are no mods active on this save at all. That may change as time goes on and we need to find perhaps a specific prop we could introduce, find it. But really, I want this video to serve as a bit of a look at, if you like, as to what vanilla CS2 functions like now. It's had several updates, including the line tool, some AI improvements as well, alongside all of the Creator Around the World region packs, which have added significant asset variety to the base game experience. I am playing with all of those, by the way, so you can get them for free on Paradox mods if you also want to play with exactly the same asset pool I am playing with. And if you'd like to play along with this build or pick up any of the packs for Cities Skylines 1 or 2, check out the link down below to Instant Gaming. Help support the channel and you can grab yourself a great deal in return. So let's come in and start a new game together, shall we? So of course this option was added in the last update. I'm just going to go ahead and select normal mode, of course. Easy just gives you much more leeway and much less reduced simulation, but let's just go for the normal experience here. In terms of custom maps, we've already built on Great Highlands, which is a great map, by the way. You can check out our Edinburgh series if you want to see a city on Great Highlands. That's still ongoing, by the way. But I am going to use a custom map for this city. In fact, this is going to be the Ithaca, New York map by Lane. I will leave this linked down below. Again, it's for free on Paradox mods. You can come and get it. It is based on that of real Ithaca, New York. And we will be referencing this town as well today as we build out our vanilla city. So let's select our map. I will leave you guys to name this city. So please get those name suggestions down in the comments below. I'm going to leave it North American, normal game mode. I always play right-hand traffic, so I'll do that here as well. Natural disasters, sure, we'll see how they perform in vanilla these days too. And nothing unlocked. We will, of course, go through this basic sort of start of the game together, right? And if you are new around here and enjoy the content, maybe consider subscribing. Maybe, you know, it's not really that important, just my entire life depends on it. So this is our starting tile on the Ithaca map. It's a really fun project by Lane. There's rolling hills, rivers, streams, fields further beyond. And a nice flat valley space for us too to develop a really fun, I think more sort of calmer rural project, I think, rather than kind of a major downtown space, but we'll certainly have a city centre if you like. There's only one place to start with CS2, isn't there? Let's go ahead and get stuck straight into the road network. So I did mention that I will reference what happens in Ithaca in real life. Now this is Meadow Street that runs through real life Ithaca. So I want to follow what happens here really and introduce some one-way flow networks into this main intersection, which will be a real key way for people coming in. As the town grows, this will get very busy too. So I want to actually upgrade this section of highway here. So we can see when we're upgrading it, it's moving left, right and center. We want to make sure we stay centered. And I'm going to upgrade that first piece right there. Now this grid here, you can see how it keeps breaking. Now that's because it's going from one grid alignment here to another over here. Like they're not perfectly parallel, which is why that's happening. They're breaking, right? Because we're playing vanilla and we don't have the ability to plot buildings in this city, at least at the start anyway. We have to be very careful with the zoning because it's really going to affect the way the city looks. So in fact, from this first upgraded piece, I'm going to delete the rest of these roads. Up to there should be fine. To actually reform that very basic grid structure. So from this one right here, I want to have no road guidelines snapping on, because what that'll do is as you come to hit those road guidelines, even if you're at 180 degrees snap, you're still kind of snapping to a different orientation if you're hitting the road guideline. So they can be really detrimental to breaking the grid if that's something you're suffering with. So with that in mind, I'm going to bring this all the way through. Like that. And now we have much solid greater grid, right? So essentially what I want to do now to keep that from happening, I don't want to start drawing more parallel roads like this and just kind of eyeballing it, because it's going to create a different grid structure. So now we have this one-way road flowing all the way through town. I'm also going to upgrade this curve with it as well. And then we can make that connection. Yeah, you can see there, right? It's not perfectly straight, is it? I'll tell you what, then let's delete that. And then we'll actually come in with a road guideline for this particular instance. And then we'll draw it up a little bit further. And then with the road guideline and curve tool, we can just hit that. And then we can bring that together. Wonderful. Obviously, the grid will break on the curve, of course. But now we have this direction in. I need to complement the other direction. So now we don't just want to start drawing blind here. I want to make sure that I'm having 4 blocks So by doing that, we just want to make sure we're aligning the grid spaces, which are highlighted by those inner blue semicircles that are sat back to back, right? It looks a little bit like kind of inner bum cheeks, doesn't it, when you look at it from that perspective isolated. I can't unsee that now, now that I've just mentioned it. But there you go, right? Follow the bum cheeks is my advice. So from this road here, we want to complement it so the grids are running perfectly back to back like that, right? Creating much more zonable space for us. And we won't need this one. We will have roads cut in back and two, but just not here. And then with this one, again, I will turn the direction around. And I think I'll take it up to just where it begins to turn. And then from this space here, let's take it back a touch further actually. I'm not quite happy with how that's looking. And then we can really stretch that junction out. And then this is how we'll connect them. One thing I am very much looking forward to as part of a CS2 vanilla build is just what we're going to be able to do with the road tools come the end of the project, right? So we've got a little bit of junk there. We can probably do with, I think, just reconnecting that road, which is what I will do. That's just a regular highway road, which I don't currently have actually, so that's fine. We can still use a regular. You know, actually, I'll probably end up using this into 4-lane as well, so I'm actually going to add that 4-lane road now. Sorry to make that much more complicated than it needed to be. Now, sometimes you'll get this where the road won't go where you want it to. This is when you need to turn off snap to zoning silent. And then it'll give you that control to snap into the middle of the lane there, which is really what I want to happen, right? And then we'll upgrade this section to 4-lane, and then we can have this as major arterial space, right? Wonderful. So already CS2's vanilla road tools giving us much more interest in those junctions, which I'm really happy with. This road over here again, let's carry this one on, and we'll take this back into this junction down here. So let's really mark out this junction, so where this node begins, and again I want to make sure I'm snapping within this grid frame, right? So when we draw this out, this will still be whole. And then we'll send this right the way through. You can also see, right, so if I connect to this now, see where the grid's breaking apart there? So essentially I want to make sure that, you know, when it's coming from this road, it's drawn out from one of these roads, so it all hits the same grid orientation. Also snapping to grid, see how it just slightly pulls us off there? It's very subtle, but when you're struggling with broken grids, it's all that kind of stuff that makes the difference, you know? Sorry to spend so much time talking on that. I see a lot of posts on Reddit and stuff with people asking about the, you know, the zoning breaking, and it's just not working for them when you don't plot, because that playstyle isn't for everyone. It does become very irritating. So we'll draw this one up, and then that can replace that one then, and we can probably just go ahead and take this out as well. Now, of course, that's all different grid orientation. And then bring that basically up to where that one was heading as well. And then these basic frames now that are starting to form, we'll be able to piece together the rest of the time with us. So this one here, let's do a slightly more interesting junction. So with CS2's road tools, let's just come on to our angle snap. And then just as we approach the junction, we can decide how much width we want. Something like that, I think, right? And that will blend kind of broken grids that aren't currently accessible to us are not really zonable anyway, because they're right against the creek. And with our main town frame, which will all form together, right, giving us perfect griddage. So now we can return here. Now let's come back with all snapping again beside the road guideline. And then I want this to come all the way down. Let's throw on the continuous curve. And then that can come right back into the junction. In terms of where I want it to land, I want it to hit all those frames, right? So it's centered on every road coming into that junction. So I'm going to have that like that. So these one-way flow systems will help disperse people in and around the town. And we also have some other connections to make here too, which again is another external connection. So something that's going to get quite busy. So again with this one, I make sure not join out from here, right? Because this will start messing with a different grid structure. I want to make sure we're here. So with this one, it's pretty much just going to go straight the way through like that. Okay. So I reckon about that grid frame, pretty much there, is perfect. Now we were going to use some asymmetrical action here as well, I think. So I'm going to grab an alleyway road. Now if we try upgrade this in one piece, it'll do the whole road, but I need it to be switched for what I actually want to happen here. So in the middle, let's just draw out a road there, change that one, and then let's just alternate the directions. So with the asymmetry, I want the 2 lanes facing the junctions, so then they have the different ways to go. Okay. And then from that basic connection now, we can have this one go all the way through, and then we should see that when we draw it onto this one now, it's perfectly aligning with those grid frames, and everything is whole because it's all drawn out from that 90-degree angle. It's the best way to avoid broken grids. So I'd highly recommend it. You have a lot of success with it. Then again, this one here, can we break you? Oh, I don't want to. You look kind of map critical, don't you? It's okay. It's fine. Let's just grab the regular road, and then we can have that connect in there. I want to make sure I'm... And the best way, if it's giving you grief, just come to simple angle snapping. And then let's just connect it where we think it looks happy. Something like that, alright? I'd also like to introduce another one-way flow system too. That kind of leads up to what will be eventually all downtown and what is pretty much downtown Ithaca in real life. So with this one here, I want to add a smaller road between these. Again, remembering what we did with the back-to-back zones over here, because we want to start creating these grid blocks in vanilla. I want to have a road that comes out this way. That can also head all the way through to its brother on the other side. And then I want to introduce that second one-way flow system here again, so really copying what Ithaca is doing. We'll have that one arrive there. So with this first bit of the next corporate system in, I want to add in a smaller road. But I want this to be not kind of perfect back-to-back grids here. And to show you what I mean by that, I just want to not have it so it's like that back-to-back because that's too deep. So what we can do is if we bring this outer blue circle to the edge of that second tile on the right, that's going to give us 4 deep back-to-back zoning, which is like it is in Cities 1, right? So you get the 4 there, and then you've got the 4 there, which can be much nicer for just kind of shrinking the grid down a little bit. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to have that one there, and then with the other side, the other 3-lane one-way road, I want to do that same thing, bringing in the grid. That's 2 tiles away, which will give me 4x4 back-to-back zonings. You can have that come in. And now throughout all of this, our grid remains unbroken and perfect, which is what we love to see, right? So now in terms of breaking up our blocks as to how this will begin to look, let's have a little chat about that. So coming in from this road, let's do, shall we say 200 meter blocks? So that would be this one right here, wouldn't it? If my calculations are correct, that is exactly 200 meters. So we could break up our blocks in 200 meter increments like that, which I think I'm pretty happy with. I'm going to go with that. So again with this one, I can feed it all the way through. It's all going to be on the same grid system. Everything's lining up perfectly. Everything's perfectly zonable, which is so important in vanilla. Vanilla can get very ugly very quickly if you don't take care of it. I think it's very much the same with CS1 in that regard as well. But wonderful. So let's get all this broken up here as well, right? Keeping it at 200 meter increments. Also turn on grid snapping here as well, that would also help. And if you'd like to get more from the channel, check out the Patreon linked below. There you can directly support my videos and get your name listed at the end of the content. Receive early access to videos when possible, extra previews, screenshots, shoutouts, save files, and a wonderful community from as little as £2 per month, plus access to the exclusive Patreon podcast Eggs on Toast, where you can listen to me interview some of your favourite creators. Welcome onto the podcast, Candy.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Joined by the enigma that is City Planner Plays. City Planner, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Thank you so much, Egg. Happy to be here.
Joined by the one and only Biffa.
Hello, hello. How you doing?
Massive shout out to the patrons that support these videos. Let's get back to today's build. Cool. So this will form up a lot of our town centre and initial residential zone in here. With the river, let's definitely bring roads down to this. And I think at this point, I'll probably begin to start introducing some alleyway roads. So I'll have that there. And then let's bring in some alleyway roads now. So just a smaller, more discreet road. And I want to have this run. Bearing in mind I want some zoning against the back of the creek, right? I want this to pretty much come there, I think. Have it run down towards the intersection. We can make this walkable with some nice detail in there. And then back in here. Looking for those smaller blocks again too. We do get a little bit of broken grid there right at the end, but this is right on the edge of town, so I can deal with that there. I can't delete this road here because it won't let me redraw it, and that will break the connection, which will really annoy me. So we can resolve that once we're able to redraw it, but that's okay. Now what I am going to do, referencing what happens in Ithaca, as we approach this angle here, the grid almost switches to run in line with the angle of the creek here, so like it's kind of moving 45 degrees. So I really want to implement that. So let's come to the very end of this current grid structure, and I'm going to drag this all the way over to the creek at about an angle not too dissimilar to that. This will also serve as the top of this grid as well. And then with this road here that comes alongside the creek, I want to hit that road guideline about there, and then have this come down. So let's actually draw this one up first. It'll probably be a bit easier to connect to that one. And then 180 degrees there. And eventually we'll have a bridge here that just, oh, crazy camera. That just hops over that creek, right? And then we can expand our suburb out there in coming episodes. Just do let me know if you guys want to see more CS2 vanilla after you've watched this, of course. Let's bring all this up now to match. So that's all perfect there. So now to switch our grid, what I want to do is bring up the roads from this one first, because this is the new angle I'm aligning it to. It does break here, but that's because it's obviously meeting a new grid structure. So we'll keep it as whole as we can. So let's go for about there. Let's come back to another lane down here. Keep this one whole. And then let's do... Actually, redraw this one ever so slightly as well. I just want to make sure I can keep the grids whole for as long as possible. Let's try redraw that one too. Then we can pull it down. And then all this can come straight up to meet it. And then I'm also going to make a few of these roads around the arterial also asymmetrical as well. Sorry to spend so long on the start of the episode looking at the roads, but I think for vanilla CS2, it really does help to take your time when we have these big zonable squares like this, okay? I'm happy with that. We've spent nearly 100,000 on our initial road layout, but we have plenty of space to build out here now, so take this here as our starting road structure. So now let's turn our attention towards the base utilities. First of all, power. So there's a few options here available to us. I think episode 2 of this series, I'll focus more in the beginning industrial, which would probably like to include a small coal plant. Right now, here, I don't want a coal plant in this bit of the city. So importing power is my next option. The French electrical substation is actually very nice and would fit pretty much perfectly on this corner. It's much more discreet than the regular vanilla transformer station is, nowhere near as industrial looking, which is really kind of what I'm after for right now, okay? I'm pretty sure we can blend this in just as part of our high street. So we'll import power. Let's come back to our power lines. We want to grab them. Let's come underground by hitting page down. And then from this blue node, we want to connect them in. I will keep the power lines in tandem with the roads. And let's just have this go somewhere where it's not overlapping would be helpful. Up to the outside connection. Everyone's happy. And all of our roads are now powered because they're all intersecting with each other. Okay. And we can just import our power. Eventually we'll export it ourselves, but for right now, we just don't need to pay the upkeep of a power plant. Fantastic. Next up is water. We need water pumping and water disposal. So water towers are the most obvious option here. We could pump out of these creeks, but they're pretty small, and I'd rather use one of the water towers. So we have the French water tower, which is super nice looking. The USA Northeast one, though, is pretty much mission critical here, isn't it? When we're building an Ithaca-inspired build. So I'd love to have this definitely kind of visible, I think, from the main street. How about right here on the entrance to the city, right? It could almost be a little bit of a landmark, can't it, you know, once you pass the big kind of It reminds me of something actually. Maybe I have seen. Is it a reference in a TV show maybe? I'm thinking Stranger Things for some reason. But a really cool asset. It's going to give us water, of course. Gets a little bit of detailing down the bottom there as well. Some fencing. Then everyone is happy. Wonderful. We deliver fresh water to the city. And that takes care of that. We now also need to dispose of that water. Of which the only option at the moment in vanilla is the sewage outlet, which will have to be pumped away. The water's flowing into the rivers, which isn't massively ideal, I won't lie. Yeah, the flow is confused, isn't it? Maybe that'll equalize with time, maybe. I'm not sure. I guess we'll see. Either way, it probably won't be a permanent solution. Let's put that over there. That also takes us to Tiny Village, despite the fact no one lives here. That's okay, though. It gives us some more money. A development point as well. We just get the church in from the UK pack. Beautiful building. And then we want to connect this in with only sewage pipe into the road structure, where we can connect it in, let's say, there. Alright, cool. I'm also going to draw out some smaller roads down here as well, just to prep for that next episode. Because I know we're going to want some industry today. And I'm also just going to grab a little dirt road, you know, and just take that down to the sewage outlet. Someone would obviously need access to that, so that's what that road can be. We also have some disconnected pipes here. We do. Let's delete those as well. We can come to our underground line and take these out. And then we'll redraw them in so they connect in with where our city lines start, basically. So, right there is what we want. Superb. Right, so that's all the utilities and stuff taken care of. Now we can finally start zoning. I'm also just going to throw in a few more roads. I know I said we'd start zoning, but at these couplet ends, sorry, I also just want to tie them into the bottom of the other couplet there. Okay. Now we can start to zone. So it's coming to our zonings. Of course, all of the Creator Around the World packs have added insane variety. I think for us, let's go ahead and have a look. We have medium density northeast. I think for a lot of the commercial, I'm going to go northeast, of course, but I'm going to use a lot of southwestern, I think, suburbs. We're going to use all the packs, basically. So with our zoning, I want lots of commercial, definitely facing up and onto this main street. So we don't just want to do this, okay? Especially with residential zoning. Let's get some residential in first so I can kind of show what I want to talk about here. So with some of these smaller blocks, for example, this is perfect. I want to leave 4 either side of the road here. Okay. And then I want to draw in this first batch up until we get 4. And then let this grow, okay? It'll pretty much grow immediately. And then we can also complement that with the other side. They should also pretty much come in immediately. And then once the block has grown in, come in and fill in the corners. This will make sure we just get perfect blocks rather than it being 6 deep sometimes. It might be 5 and then 4 and 5, and it'll just kind of really make each development look really odd. So I want to make sure we specifically zone. Commercial isn't too bad. We can get away with some mostly kind of bulk zoning it. Let's get some of this northeast commercial right down Main Street, right? And I want big 6 deep zoning tiles here. Let's get this filling in all the way down Main Street. This should be enough. Mixed use will be very fun as well once we unlock that. But very tidy, right? This all start coming in. Let's get some southwest in here too. So all down this couplet system, I want big blocks of commercial. Let's get some southwest stuff growing here. And again, all that work we put in at the start, making sure we have these perfectly formed grids, is really going to pay off from a realism perspective, okay? Especially in vanilla. But this will all grow up over time, of course. Let's begin to think about some very basic services here. Can we even affect our budget at this point in the game? We can have our tax rates. Not really sure what I played. Is it 11% in CS2, I think? Sure it was. We can also reduce this budget down a little bit too, especially for sewage and water. We should have plenty of capacity if my info view will show. Yeah, we're way overproducing, so we can afford to bring down the sliders as always, right? But I'm very happy with this. So we have some medium density demand spiking now as well. So let's bring in some of those northeast USA style apartments, right? And definitely in around the city centers here. Let's go for some 60 apartments. And then maybe over here we can have a slightly shallower block of them. Definitely get some mixed use down here today as well. Let's also bring in some very basic industrial zoning. I did mention, we'll spend, if you guys want to see it, that is episode 2 of our CS2 vanilla experience with industry. But for right now, it's just a demand that needs satisfying. Let's bring in some industry over here. We do have to bear in mind pollution, wind directions. Not that it's really an issue, because all they do is tweet about it. They're pretty easygoing, the CS2 sims. So they should be okay. You boys okay? You're not connected in? You should be. Maybe you're not connected. No, you're not. We also must add a underground power line here as well, because these guys won't have power, will they? There we go. Wonderful. Starting to grow in now. Let's return back to our low density residential demands. Now they've all grown in, we'll have one there. Let's make sure we stick to our southwest theme here. Japanese will also look really nice too. Yeah, I think I have miszoned it, haven't I? I wanted it to be southwest stuff. There we go. Sorry, we'll get that regrowing. Pretty much comes in straight away anyway, doesn't it? Yeah, sorry, that was my mistake there. I just chose the wrong theme. Let's delete all those. They can grow back in as what I wanted them to be. And then now let's get some more low density in as well. Let's do you want to try? I suppose I'll try some Japanese. They were pretty nice assets, weren't they? And we've got some deeper blocks here as well. So let's go to, let's stick with Southwest. And then at this point, we'll do some deeper blocks. So I'm still going to do the same technique here. I'll still want to go in 6 deep. Over here. And then once all that's in, we can fill in those corners. Might seem pedantic, but it'll give you much more uniform blocks. Which again, without the ability to plop, really helps in vanilla. Let's get all this growing up too. Fantastic. So we're starting to get some buildings in now. Should we take a little bit of a walk down Main Street perhaps? Definitely get some row homes in as well, right? Those, aren't they nice? Right down Main Street here. Got some floating signage. Still some struggling signs for CS2's engine there, but bugs that will hopefully be ironed out one day. So you see how much this perfect zoning is affecting us now, right? Look how much more detailed that little street corner looks, just because we've got the perfect fence in. Now, of course, this will level up, and without plot the growables, so I lack the ability to historical any buildings, which will be quite the challenge, I think. So this Main Street will definitely evolve and change and develop over time. But I'm liking how it's turning out here. Got some of these northeast commercial buildings too. Repeating maybe a little often for what I would like, but it does create a pretty distinct shape there, doesn't it? Let's continue to satisfy our demands here. Let's bring into play some southwest medium density row housing. Where's our couplet system here? What road does it begin on? Wood Street and Concord Street are the couplet roads here. So let's go ahead and grab some of those southwest medium densities, and we'll do 4 deep here, I reckon. On this couplet. Get it growing in there as well. And then we'll see how this develops over time. That industry that's coming in should just be getting on with it. Shouldn't be any major issues over here, really. Let's bring up, we all zoned out here. I think we are. And then all this space here can pretty much just become industrial space. Again, to be refined in episode 2, really, it tends to be how I really formulate my city starts, is focus those first episodes on getting parks and the basic services down and whatnot. Then the rest will follow in episode 2. And speaking of those basic services, let's turn our attention to the first time towards medical care. I would love a wonderful little modern clinic. How about modern medical clinic? This is from the content creator pack, isn't it? There's also the southwest one, which again, very nice. I do like that. The northeast does have one. It's maybe a little big. for what I'm possibly envisioning here. I definitely want this kind of stuff in around the corporate system though, right? I'm definitely going to form more of a downtown around here. So those big services, the hospitals, the doctors and whatnot can all lie down here. The Japanese Medical Center is also one of my favorites as well. Might actually place this up on the corporate system here, right on the corner. A real prominent corner asset. I'm actually just going to rotate that onto the other face there, I think. Yeah. Such a nice asset, that one, isn't it? I really like this building. The Japanese Medical Center, it does have an upgrade, which will add intensive care here. Does that do anything? I guess what, they just receive intensive care. I guess we won't really see too much of that from a simulation perspective, will we? But it's okay. It's fine. Wonderful. We're getting lots of stuff growing up around here now. Definitely won't mind some more row home blocks in, especially in around the city centre here. To also get some more low density going. Let's change it up a little bit. I want to try different styles today. Eastern European will probably stand out a little bit too much here rather. So let's try some, yeah, you know what, let's go ahead and try some China stuff. Let's do a block zoned up, which actually grows quite organically there itself. How about something that big? See what that looks like. Because during our coverage of these packs, of course, they all kind of complement each other. They're quite universal, these buildings. Some styles do clash with others, but beyond that, it's usually okay. Cool, so we've got much more medium density demand. Let's continue to match this. Let's go ahead and grab... Of course, we don't really want French. That would be too much of a clash here. But yeah, let's keep in some more medium density housing all the way down here. In terms of services, we will need a landfill at some point, although we could go down recycling immediately. It is 2 development points, which is probably one of the better unlocks, to be honest. Roundabouts can wait. We won't need roundabouts just yet. Advanced road services is nice. I think I'm probably going to go for a recycling centre first of all. For our first development. Some of our southwest houses tucked in here as well, which aren't bad. Probably won't use too much of this, especially around here. But I can make do with some little sort of apartments and condos. I love the stairs in between the buildings, right? Adds a lot to the street, that doesn't it? I think. Very tasty. Do we have pathways unlocked yet? We do indeed. So let's turn our attention towards some path work here. So with this, I don't want to have snap to the side of building on. Pretty much just snapping into grid is going to be ideal. I don't think I want to create the pedestrian crossing for the most part. We might have a few in. I guess we'll just keep... This one's pretty much tailor-made for it anyway, isn't it? So let's actually keep that going all the way down the street there. So you can cut right through the block. Multiple pedestrian crossings. You know what? Let's run with that idea. Let's keep that pedestrian pathway going all the way through. I would also like to reserve some squares here for parkland. Now we can add our own... Well, we can add ploppable parks in once we unlock them. But what I want to do here is just make my own park space, right? Might add some assets in here in a second. I guess we'll just see what happens with it. So coming out here, now this shouldn't disturb the grids. Nah, they're okay. So I'm just going to do simple X crossing up here. I'll make this obviously a very nice walkable park space. Let's go ahead and grab some vegetation. Let's do... Oak trees are always a firm favourite, aren't they? And let's just add some around here. Some spruce in there as well. And some more wild green bush. Now, of course, we did have surfaces added as part of the vanilla experience, so let's add some pavement surface in here. I guess in terms of which one we want to use, I'll be happy with that. So let's just draw in some basic detail in here, right? Let's go straight down here and then just hit each of these pathways. That'll give us a little bit of a square there. And exploring some park props, let's have a couple of garden benches facing into the central plaza here. Unfortunately, we don't have the control of variation on, so they will be different colours every time we place them. Which is, again, hopefully just another little bit of quality of life improvement that will be ironed out in coming updates, you would hope, right? Let's have some trash bins in the middle. I wouldn't mind maybe a little... We can definitely have a gazebo here though. Let's just have that off in the trees perhaps. And let's have the little hot dog stand and perhaps the little news kiosk on the corners of these pathways, and just decorate that little area with some more trees too. Okay, just a general public recreation space in the middle of the park. This is very subtle, but as you add multiple of these as you go around the build, I think we can have quite a lot of fun, I think, with the somewhat limited vanilla detailing. We'll see how long we can avoid find it for, I think. I guess we'll see. Wonderful, we're getting much more row homes down here. I'm happy with this as well. We also have waiting for a hearse out here. Probably are out here because we don't have any death care. So we have the vanilla cemetery, which is bloody massive, and I don't want this here. So I think instead we will use the UK parish church, which is actually quite a bit cheaper. Although I suppose it has much less capacity, doesn't it? Than the vanilla option. So this is a very English style church. This will definitely clash with the Ithaca theme, but you know what? Is it sitting and fitting there? Well, you know what? I'm not averse to having the church as part of the town centre there, you know. We also have graveyard extensions on this too. Which I guess, does that bring it up to the price of the regular vanilla graveyard, I wonder? Pretty much does, doesn't it? If not, makes it more expensive actually. But we won't need them yet anyway. But we'll have the church in our town over there as well. And they will go and pick up the dead people now as well. In terms of traffic, let's have a look how we're flowing. Everyone's happy around here. Taking the outside connection back out of the city. Otherwise, got our row homes here too. What's going on here? Are you just zoned in a bit awkwardly? You probably have, haven't you? It's okay though. We can get trees in there and stuff if nothing grows. Very nice over here as well. We got a little bit of awkward zone in the air, so I think that's where it's just snapped to that street corner, hasn't it? Which is fair enough. I don't mind that, but it's quite a nice corner building. Yeah, but already, it's just from like the vanilla launch experience, you know, back in 2023. The asset variation here is just infinitely better than what we had, wasn't it? Some nice businesses in here. You got neckbeard mics. Got 60. What does that say? 60 some. It does, doesn't it? It's not what I thought it said. That's okay then. Wonderful. And there is milestone 2. We get those progression points. Everyone's very happy. We also get a little bit of money as well. Alongside a new signature building, a tea salon. Wonderful. We won't have much cause for using that just yet. We're also getting much less commercial demand than I probably initially anticipated for the start of the city, but that's okay. Industry is fine and growing up around there. I'm happy with that. There's another signature building as well. The Fox Inn has just unlocked for us too. But we have also just unlocked... How are we doing for money at the minute? We're minus 3,000. That's okay though. We will get more taxpayers in. Let's have a look how our Chinese houses turned out here. Again, you know, it's really not too dissimilar, is it? Right? I'm happy with these. I think I'll do some more Chinese housing over here. Let's do it. I want the other one, not the courtyard one, because there is 2 different styles. Yeah, the low density housing is the one I want. All these blocks, let's get lots of population in here. I want plenty of taxpayers. This side of the city, living near the creek. A little bit more of a rundown part of town over here, maybe. Right, kind of smaller alleyway roads. We've definitely got more room for zoning here as well, so let's make sure that's possible. Let's bring that up, and then have another one in there as well. Like really maximize that space so we can cram the density in, so to speak. And then I'll fill this out with a little bit more Chinese residential. Pretty much all the way through that space, right? No grow up there. So we just unlocked garbage and education. Well, we will unlock our own garbage because I'm going to take recycling centre at level 2. This will also collect and sorts garbage to produce reusable materials. Selling the recycled materials creates additional income for the city, which is very nice. And then school, we don't have anything to unlock at the minute, but we will place our first school. We've got so much choice again, holy smoke. Holy smokes indeed. So small elementary schools, pretty discreet again, the Chinese ones. Very nice. I want to go for more of a cheaper option here if we can. Oh god, the Japanese one fits and sits. No, it's too big for what we need. It's too big. I think we'll keep it a small elementary school, and I want this kind of tucked in and amongst the schools over here, right? So how about near the church? Opposite the park seems like a great place for a little community elementary school, doesn't it? We can immediately give more classroom upgrades. That should be okay though. We'll definitely end up upgrading that today, I imagine. That's okay. And then, do we want to do a high school yet? Possibly. There is the Northeast American High School again too. It would be quite appropriate here, wouldn't it? Again, you're almost spoiled for choice, aren't you? Now I think I'm going to go for the USA Northeast High School as well. I want to put that in here and then really just leave all this land around it to help serve as essentially landscaping for it, really. So there's already a lot of landscaping out the front of it. And we have 2 extension wings, which again, they're not going to affect the footprint of the building, so that's not particularly important. And then again, snapping into the grid, let's bring those grids down either side here on those pathways. And when do we unlock parking? Let's also come back to our development tree. Let's do... Parking areas are down here. Advanced road services will be quite tasty though. I think we will grab them first, you know. Parking areas next. We'll definitely want to try utilize and even just kind of experiment with the CS2 parking mechanic at the minute, you know. So we've unlocked new zonings here. We now have apartment blocks available. So let's do some of these. Now this is kind of what I thought I was getting with these houses over here. So let's have some apartments in around these high density blocks on Concord Street and Wood Street was our couplet system, wasn't it? So how would 6 deep do? Tends to go a little less shallow there, doesn't it? So let's kind of stick it to 5 and 4. And then we can possibly run that pathway again in between blocks where we don't have the density that we probably wanted. I reckon we can just feed that straight through the middle. Hopefully we'll see some people using this pathway soon. Yep, there they go. They are using it. This northeast stuff looks great, doesn't it? So much older style high street there. But there's still decent traffic flow. That public system is to keep up people moving, isn't it? So it's also bringing our death care slider down to 60 as well. And our education, just to try and reduce the hit. We're down to -3,000 now. Although we'll hopefully see how that affects the city. It shouldn't make anyone too unhappy. We'll wait and see though. We have a little bit of commercial demand also spiking here, plus some more industrial. So we'll get all that growing. Again, don't pay too much attention to what's going on over here. It's just zoning. And then with that little spot of commercial demand, what do we want to go for? We'll do... The Southwest USA stuff is so nice. I can't get enough of it. Let's get a block of that growing. We'll see what we think of that. Again, I really love the Japanese stuff too. I love it all. Love it all. Let's make some match both though. Oh, we do get the bookshop there too. That's very nice. And let's also create a little pathway here. Be able to cut through, and perhaps a tree line just to fill that space next door to the clinic. Super. We did actually just unlock a commercial unique I am quite interested in. The UK petrol station. One of these. Probably medium. I just think I have like a, you know, when you have a town vision, I feel like a petrol station is needed on one of these roads here. That's milestone 3, gives us 75 grand. 3 more development points, which is very nice. Riverside Grill has also been unlocked. Fantastic. I love the leisure venue signature buildings. Okay then, well let's bring in the Riverside Grill because there's a river flowing through here. Does it sit and fit there? Is that what we want? Right on the entrance into town here. We can have the Riverside Grill. Right. And it kind of lets this corner breathe here a little bit. Let's tidy up this entrance into town. I think it'll be quite an important area in the long run. Let's come off all the snappings here just on the angle. Send that one through. And can I squeeze you through here? Where do we want to send you actually? I wouldn't mind just going sort of straight up and behind. And then from that one, can we come down into the corner? Get some random rocks through here as well. Maybe a boulder or two. And some larger trees, some pines perhaps. Hard green bushes, and just add a little bit more fun into our God, the overlapping trees in vanilla is horrific. They need to remove that. I'd forgotten about that. Where it says you can't place it. Okay, yeah, I think we'll have the Riverside Grill then, right? Because it is Riverside. It's right here. It'll serve as a bit more of an important building to blend in amongst our old commercial here, won't it? Those apartments have grown in. They are very northeastern style, those ones, aren't they? I'm not a massive... I mean, I do like them. They're nice assets, but I don't think they belong here. Much more modern condos on this side, isn't it? But not bad either way. It's fun to see how the different zonings all behave and work together now, you know? We still don't have garbage collection. I'm guessing currently that's going to be taken care of with a service fee, isn't it? That'll be coming from outside the city. No, but we do need to place it. Although we can't because it's 880,000, so that'll definitely be an investment for another day. In terms of those development points, we could start making money via parking areas. When do we hit parks? That's not till Grand Village. We're going to grab parking areas as well then. Because I know, I remember when CS2 was all being marketed, they really pushed the whole kind of parking mechanic, you know, as a way of pathfinding for the Sims. And now we have tons of car parks, right? These do have upkeeps. But I guess we'll... You know, we'll see if it makes more money than it costs to upkeep, I suppose. So, parking lots, definitely. I want to go very American here, so I'm happy for kind of, you know, street corner parking lots like this. So, small would fit nicely, long, got medium single width too. That's not too bad. That one might not look too horrific either side of the school, actually. Something like that. You can maybe even use the pathways to then detail that too. Although we should be careful with pathways because these do actually have an upkeep per month. So, not something, yeah, probably should spam that much, but you know me, I love my pathways. Okay, we'll have one there. Let's return to that street side corner one we had. Moderate parking lot. It's quite big, isn't it? It is quite big. Okay, let's just go for small parking lot then. Let's have that on the corner. And then, you know, this is all zone commercial, so they will eventually have stuff around here to do. So with all our China stuff growing in the south of the town, these guys are starting to look too bad now. We're generating that outer lying sprawl, aren't we? Let's return back to our medium density solutions, because the simulation certainly wants more apartments. So we've got medium density there. Do we want to go for more southwest stuff? I think... we will. I'll actually go for some more southwest row housing there though, just to complete that block because we had that same style there. And then I will go for southwest medium density. And let's try to do some more specific shapes here. Let's do apartment blocks. Although that one block ate our entire demand, so I guess we'll see how that works out. Approaching 2,000 people now though. The monetary deficit is falling. You certainly need those early milestones to keep your economy going, I've found, at least. Now, I reckon this road here, right, this probably wants to be asymmetrical as well. Let's go ahead and fix that. Have the extra turning lane for them there. Probably make that 5-lane asymmetrical one day, I imagine. But otherwise, it's not looking too bad at the minute. We'll also have our train heading through town as well. Possible train station integration around this bit of the city, maybe over here. Or perhaps around here as you develop more of a headland and a park space, have the train station with some higher buildings. I think there's a lot of potential for this map. Certainly we'll definitely keep taking inspiration from Ithaca as well. But that will come in time, of course. Beyond that, I'm just going to leave the simulation to run, let people keep arriving. and let our monetary deficit hopefully keep falling. It is slowly coming down. Just keep matching up some initial zonings too. Let's also get some more industrial zoning in. This will essentially be a mini 3-mile island. This one here. Just lots of industrial zoning down it. Just so we can satiate the initial simulation. And in terms of map tiles, it's broken up very uniquely, actually. We don't need to unlock any today, of course. I think the next one will certainly be this down here, right? And we can expand our power plant this side of the creek, especially around the rail infrastructure. I think that'd be quite cool. But today we should be alright. We should be okay today. Nice big apartments on the corner there. Isn't that looking fantastic? I really like the look of that, actually. Very nice indeed. With our school, how are you doing? You're very nearly full, aren't you? So I think we'll just continue to wait, really. I don't think there's a need to overspend in CS2. Its economy is, I think, significantly more sensitive than CS1's. The Chinese apartments I'm a little more reluctant to use. I think they're perhaps too stylized, but let's try them because you never know. We'll see what happens. And then Eastern European, probably too much of a clash. Japanese, medium density, probably not, you know. That'll probably work, yeah. Let's get a few blocks of that in. And we'll do 4 and 5. I think trying different things with these zone types is going to be fun at the start. Did we also just unlock... It's Grand Village, wasn't it? Yeah, we need one more milestone. That'll get us to our park stuff. And I think that's probably where we'll leave the episode once we get those parks, right? I actually don't mind the single strip of industrial running down this little island, you know. That actually looks quite cool, especially when you're surrounding the riverbanks there with lots of trees and foliage. I think it really helps it, doesn't it? Not bad there. Industries running. I eventually envision another connection down here. So this is the National Road, Highway 34. We'll probably upgrade this into a couplet system at some point, I imagine. It's a key outside connection, isn't it? It runs all the way down here. And some really interesting kind of country networks out here, right? Isn't that fun? And then this goes multiple different directions. Look at that. And then off and out into outside connections, yeah. So possibly upgrade that into a larger highway system as the town grows and connect it into the industry as well. Definitely a bad idea, I think, to leave this as the only industrial connection. Which is also an outside connection too. Yeah, the Chinese blocks are too much, aren't they? Yeah, they're definitely too much. Sorry, boys. We will use you for a social housing estate, I imagine, at some point, but definitely not here. Let's continue with Southwest and Japanese, I think, for my apartment blocks. I'm most on board with these. Yeah, brilliant, right? Fantastic stuff. Some more basic services are now also available, which are very sensitive economy. Might be able to handle. I suppose we'll see. Let's get a little bit of stuff down here too. Now, we could do some initial specialized industry because these things produce decent money. I guess let's address the production chain, right? What does it want? Most in need of vegetables at the minute. Do we have any fertile land nearby? I can find my vegetable farm in here. Yeah, quite a lot is actually usable here, isn't it? I think I'm actually going to turn this whole road here into asymmetrical there as well. Cool. Could we possibly squeeze a vegetable farm in here, I wonder? It is fertile land, and I really wouldn't mind it running against the edge of the rail. By the creek here. Let's see if we can get this done. Just this little pocket of land right up against the train line there too. Close as we can get it. And then we can have that as some field space there, I think. That should just help boost the economy a little bit, having some specialised industry. Reduce the pressure on importing, hopefully. So that's brought that down to 1.2 tons. Should help, we hope anyway. Wonderful. Those blocks are starting to grow in density now, aren't they? I'm really not loving these, though. I think I'm going to replace you for Japanese apartments, actually. So we don't have to delete them. We can just rezone the block, and then they'll regrow themselves. And with so much medium density demand, it's actually kind of crazy, isn't it? Let's grow some more Japanese blocks out here. And then some more southwest stuff as well. Let's also do some row homes. I wouldn't mind some more southwest stuff. Let's actually take them out of this block and maybe have some row homes near to the school. In a fashion not too dissimilar to that. Bearing in mind we want to save some space around the school so we can have that upgrade eventually, which we're probably not too far from needing now, are we? Yeah, pretty soon. Yeah, so now we're getting crime, so now we can go ahead and place our next services, of course, police and fire. Let's bring our police in first. Yeah, I'm after cheaper the better here, really. So the cheapest one is the German one, which I think might probably stand out a little bit. How about if we had it next to the substation? There's the next milestone, more development points, more money, wonderful. That also gives us office space as well. Yeah, I don't hate that, you know. I think that's quite nice. Upgrades, we have an office extension. What does it actually do? Additional floor space, quite vague. And then the garage at the back for more police vehicles. So all of these initial basic services are all modular and upgradable. We don't need to place more when we need the extra capacity, which is very nice. Also fire as well, let's not forget our fire. Let's have again, I'm after cheaper the better here, really. Northeast one's $4 grand a month. Yeah, that's easy. It only has one fire engine now. It's fine. Actually, no, didn't we have a little one gap there on the high street? We did. Oh, that fills that perfectly. Yes, please. Fantastic news. Okay, so we'll have that as our firehouse then, right? We only have one at the minute, but that should be okay. And our police are hopefully out and about. Yes, they are. They should be dispatched to the crime scene relatively soon. Offices have just unlocked 2. Let's also grab park areas, super important for giving people happiness. Park maintenance is the unlock. I'll do that first. We'll spend an episode doing public transit separately, I think. Let's make sure there's nothing else here I'm missing. Power should be fine. How are we doing for money at the minute? Yeah, just spent. We need to reduce those upkeeps again, don't we? It's fine though. Let's do parks. Let's get parks. Let's get park maintenance done, and then we'll do sports parks as well. But the Sims have something to do in the simulation. Got a terrible storm at the moment as well, everyone. Goodness me. Thunder and lightning too. So in terms of office space now being unlocked, definitely happy for some office to be included around here. Let's grow up our entrance this way. Let's get some southwest offices growing. And how about here as well? Let's do 4 deep, possibly. Next milestone is mixed use, but I think we'll definitely focus a town centre and some mixed use around that kind of stuff as we further develop the couplet in coming episodes, I think, is what we'll do there. We'll get a lot of this southwest office stuff growing in. This will be really nice. Give us some basic offices for which we can actually tax them as well. Bring the office tax up straight away. And I guess, I mean, it's 12%. Let's check our businesses. No one's abandoning them, are they? No, we're okay here. If businesses start leaving, we're in trouble. But I think beyond that, everyone's pretty happy. Then let's also come in and amend those new services too. So police and admin is pretty expensive at the minute. Let's bring that down to probably 70%, if that. We can probably bring that quite a bit lower, can't we? There's only 1 arrested person at the minute, so it should be okay. Crime probability is also dropping as well, which is good. And I think we'll kind of keep isolated here, right? We'll develop more of the Ithaca downtown around this area, I think, in coming episodes. Really want to focus on getting all this stuff growing up here today as well. So let's do, are you not growing in Japanese commercial? Are you okay? There you go, we'll do southwest instead then, see if it likes that. Then with the spaces that are developed behind here, I'm just going to pack this out with trees. Now we could do some surface work actually. So why don't we actually try and play with some of the detailing? So if we can find a more industrial surface. Was that just a regular pavement one? That'll be fine. Just a generic flat surface is fine. Now these, see, this is the problem. They are going to change, aren't they? Like whatever detailing I do around here, the building it changes to might not make sense anymore. So let's treat this block as the example, okay? Let's bring this right into this space here to perfectly fill it. Let's also grab some trees. Let's do some oakage there and there. Something like that. And then let's dive into industrial props. So we have quite a bit at the minute. Car-X probably not appropriate. Definitely more boxes here. Crate piles, right? And the line tool is here. Thank the Lord. The line tool is the most needed of all the mods, I think, isn't it? Do not like. We have to arrange it on this angle first. Then we can switch to the line tool. That'll give us what we want. And then let's just have some of these lined up as if they're here for storage. Probably better in some instances without the line tool. You can humanize it a little bit more. You know, the forklift truck driver wouldn't have had perfect lined up vision for at least most of the time, so you can place them manually as if they have been dropped here by a person slightly out of line. Something we actually studied in college with music technology about making sure drum beats aren't exactly perfect and on the beat, because it often leads to it feeling not played like a human, you know? Which is quite interesting. And this industrial stuff probably isn't too much for here. Let's definitely move to residential too, because the residential has these big empty containers which look like skips, so we can get plenty of these in around the back. Okay. So keep it fairly generic, I think. Like we mentioned, you know, these back spaces, they're going to change. Because the buildings will level up. So they will change as well. I think that's a much more interesting than just a generic green space behind, right? Don't do it everywhere. You know, for example, let's go ahead and find another one of those blocks. Let's say, you know, this block of row homes here where it hasn't quite gone full depth. Let's go ahead and bring in some trees with that instead. So lots of big bushy numbers, oaks, and packed in as densely as I can in vanilla, right? Obviously the collision radius of the trees is incredibly stupid. This, I had totally forgotten about this actually. Because I only play with Anarchy on now. Yeah, that has to be in the next update, I really hope. We can just fill it out with trees down the middle. Already, immediately, right, take this block here as trees and this one with details and props compared to one that isn't done. It looks night and day, doesn't it? I hope you'll agree with that. Anyway, we have more commercial, which is all growing up around here now. Everyone's very happy. We have office space here as well. And I wouldn't mind some commercial over here as well. I'm such a lover of the Southwest stuff. Can't really stay away from it, if I'm being honest. It's the only reason I'm making this video is so I can zone Southwest stuff. Fantastic. And we're making profit finally as well. Wonderful. 7,000. Isn't that amazing? Where did that come from? Well, what's making us money now? Taxes? Commercial taxes shot through the roof. We're making like a lot more money on that now. I guess that's because we've had new commercial business coming, I suppose. I guess so. Let's finish the episode off with some parks. So we have quite a few now. We did mention the one over here, didn't we? So we have the playground. I'm going to add that in there. And then also the Chirplet Park on the corner. Let's say right there. How does that look? They're not too bad. Now the surfaces on these assets in vanilla can be extended, which is a significant help, I think. Makes them much more interesting. Let's give this one here kind of a bit of a tree line. Have some stuff through this way. Then how about some sports parks to complement the school here? We could do a skate park, which might look quite nice opposite the school there. I'm going to throw that in. It's quite expensive, that one as well. And then let's do 2 basketball courts near the school. And then we're going to go ahead and finish off with some more southwest medium density residential around here. Otherwise, let's get some trees placed in these remaining spaces and some further path work as we just add some finishing touches to our vanilla start, and then we'll be right back. Alright guys, but otherwise that'll do it for today. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. CS2 Vanilla, the game still wants a lot of quality of life improvements. Trees colliding with each other as a prime example, a proper forest brush is also still needed. But the asset variation, especially with the region around the world packs, has led to a ton of variation. We've used both American packs here, Chinese, Japanese, and a little bit of the UK as well, plus some of the European ones with the services. And I hope you agree. It all blends together quite nicely, doesn't it? You know, sort of base game, no DLC assets, and CS2 with region pack assets, which are free, technically part of the base game. Really makes it quite an interesting experience. Let me know if you have enjoyed this, and indeed if you want to see more of this city. Don't forget to get those name suggestions down below. In the next episode, we can focus on some industry, and I also want to get the town centre built up as well, if that's something you guys want to see. Otherwise, a massive shout out to the patrons and YouTube members that support these videos, with a roll call to our golden patron Eggs, Andrew Perez, Bad Wolf, Casino, Darius, Lara Roberts, Louis Adlam, Phoenix MD, Spartan Angel, Tiana Sanon, and Wesley Kipp. So many of you. Thank you so much for all that support. If you want to get involved, links down to Instant Gaming and Patreon, best ways to do so. Otherwise, thanks for watching the Vanilla CS2 experience. Let's thank you all so much for watching. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.